Simon. You're with BBC Radio Cumbria for a Monday evening, almost 16 minutes past 8. If you were with us, I can't remember how many weeks ago now, probably 4, maybe. It's a few weeks ago. We headed to The Gather at Ennerdale, the small venue which has been playing host virtually to some not just great artists, some amazing artists over the past few months, 2 of whom we met on that particular evening, the stunning singer Sally Barker and sinuous saxophonist Snake Davis. Tonight is, I suppose, what you might call a sequel, in that the quartet of fabulous young people that you are about to meet are all connected, as well as by their prodigious musical and technical talents, but also by their links to The Gather. Welcome this evening to Hannah Rumney and Nat Dempsey, who are what you might call homegrown talent, both from in and around Ennerdale. Hello, Hannah, and hello, Nat.
Hi.
Hello. Great that you're with us this evening. We'll move slightly further afield to welcome Jordan Hollinrake, who is a young solo guitarist who's he's got a first-class degree in music. He's doing his master's currently. He is also another star of The Gather online. Good evening, Jordan.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Thank you for being with us this evening as well. And last, but by no means least, is Jake Thistle. We're going transatlantic to meet Jake. We're going to New Jersey. Jake is a 17-year-old singer-songwriter, and he is, although he's based in New Jersey, he is about to make his Upstairs at the Gather debut tomorrow evening. Hello, Jake.
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. You may greet each other.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, come on, let's get warmed up straight away. So it's great to have all 4 of you with us. I wonder if we should start perhaps by talking to each of you about your particular connection with The Gather and with performing with Cumbrian connections. I suppose, Hannah, it's probably easiest to start with you because you're probably the one who lives the nearest to this beautiful small venue, and somehow you found yourself getting sucked in.
Yeah, definitely probably the nearest. It's about 2 minutes down the road.
So tell us a little bit more about your involvement. I do know that you play a mean sax.
I try. So I help out streaming the gigs when the artists come to The Gather to stream live from there. So I help set up the set beforehand and set up the camera and the sound, and then monitor the stream throughout the performance, and then help set it down afterwards.
That sounds to me quite technically demanding, if you don't mind me saying.
I'd done nothing like this before, so I've managed to pick it up along the way, and it was a bit demanding to start off with, and we have a few mess-ups now and then, but I think we've managed to work out how to work it out now, and yeah, it's not that demanding considering I've managed to pick it up.
Well, I think you are being slightly modest there, and I think the 3 lads would be the first to say to give you a big thank you, because it's thanks to the technical expertise of you and the team at The Gather that they have been able to sort of showcase their talents.
It's thanks to them that we've actually got something to showcase.
Well, I suppose it does work both ways, indeed. Nat, you're, I suppose, the next most local. Do you want to take up your tale then?
Well, yeah, I was about 5 minutes around the corner over in Elsby, and I first played at The Gather. Emma, I think who works there, dropped me a message. Just saying, we're doing these online shows at The Gather. Do you want to get involved? Because I knew The Gather existed, but I didn't realise it did music until a couple of months ago when I did it. So I recorded the swap beforehand and sent it to them and watched it when it came out. Yeah, it's really cool. I think it's a really cool thing Gather are doing, and I can't wait till they start up in person again and get them back up and running. in person again, that'll be really good to see.
Oh, absolutely. Now that I find that very interesting, that even though you live in such close proximity, you weren't really aware of the musical opportunities nearly on your doorstep.
Mm. Mm.
And I mean,
Well, sorry, carry on.
no, you carry on.
Oh, I was just saying that I didn't realise how many like really cool, really good musicians had links with the Gather, like Snake Davis, for example. He watches. I mean, he's played there a couple of times. He's watched a few of the streams, and I didn't realise he had a link with the venue. And he's worked with a crazy amount of people. So yeah, 5 minutes past my doorstep. It's pretty crazy, really, what you can find.
Well, it intrigues me even more then as to the involvement of Jordan, who's based in Chester, and then when we get to Jake in New Jersey, even further afield. So the fame of the Gather and its virtual stage is clearly spreading. Jordan, tell us a little bit about how you got involved.
Yeah, well, I was recommended by one of my friends and a fellow guitarist, Nino Arico. Nino owns one of the recording studios in Wrexham that I record all my music at, and I think he was part of the Gather previously to me, and he must have put my name forward and put me in touch with them.
And what were your initial impressions, and sort of what was your reaction when you got involved with what you might think, oh, that's a very small setup, but actually the opportunity that it's afforded you is pretty immense?
Yeah, well, I was impressed, but I thought the first thing that struck me about this event was there seemed to be quite a genuine sense of community surrounding it, and everyone that was a part of it really seemed to really care and was passionate about it, not just in all the people that were involved in putting it together, but also the audience. You can tell it was an audience where a lot of people knew each other, and everyone sticks around from event to event, and which was nice because that feels more like a normal gig that would happen in real life, in person, in a normal venue. So that's what stood out to me for this live event.
So the warmth of the welcome, which of course is now extending all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, as far as Jake in New Jersey. I mean, Jake, is this a first for you to be doing a transatlantic gig in this way?
Yeah, I suppose. I've only been, I've only had the pleasure of, going across the Atlantic once, a couple of years ago for a gig. But I only went as north of Wellingborough. So, this was definitely, I haven't been there in person. I've only done the virtual, but I can't wait. It just, I'm so grateful that I was introduced to a, great, venue like this, and a great, just place in general. So I'm really looking forward to getting there in person when I can. But yeah, this was my first gig around that area. I had done one before, just south of that,
Well, I know, but you have rather an illustrious pedigree, if you don't mind me saying, and CV. Some of the people that you have played with, and you're only 17 years old. What persuaded you to say yes to this Gather gig?
Well, it just it seemed like a great time, so I asked for some more details. And lately I've been doing a lot of virtual things, just because it's hard to get out there and stay as busy as you can in person, just because with the pandemic and everything like that, it was tough to maintain the gig. So I've moved over to a lot of live feed shows and virtual shows and things like that. So when this came along, it just seemed like a perfect opportunity and something I was really interested in doing. And so I was really grateful that I was asked to do it, and that I'm adding it to a whole string of virtual events I've done within the past year. But this was one that really sticks out as a great time, because it's different. It's in a different location than I normally would do it in. So even though I did it from here, I'm grateful to be doing a show over there.
And how much did you, similar to Jordan, feel that sense of community? And I don't just mean the community of the Gather and the village in Ennerdale as well, but that sort of wider community of the people who've been following these gigs and reveling in them, and the quality of the music that they've been allowed to listen to.
Yeah, I when I was learning about the town, is because they mentioned kind of, mention some places around there in the set and everything like that. So I tried to do my research and look in, and it just seems like, a really great, community of people. Of course, it's great. I'm making these, awesome connections talking to, these other really talented people here on this call alone. It just really shows, the great community that is kind of presented. So I'm really grateful to somehow be a part of that.
And for you, Hannah, to be able to be an enabler, but also to benefit from the musicianship of people like Jake and Jordan and Nat, it must be incredibly exciting to think that you can do that living in a tiny village in West Cumbria without really, well, you do leave home, but only to cross the road.
Yeah, it's incredible. And yeah, especially people like Jake from America. I've absolutely no idea how Peter Mayer convinced him to play for us, but it's incredible to have him in such a small village. But yeah, it's great to talk to artists like that, and especially Snake Davis. Because I play the saxophone, I've been talking to him a bit about tips for saxophone playing, and he's been brilliant and really helpful along those lines as well. So yeah, it's incredible talking to artists from my own point of view for the saxophone, but also just in general and seeing how that world works.
And I imagine for you, Nat, as well, part of the joy, well, and the excitement, is not just of performing. Of course, that's a massive deal when you think you never know who might be watching or listening. But this, well, you're not rubbing shoulders literally, but the contact with all these other and young musicians as well, making their way in the world despite horrible circumstances.
Sorry.
I'm just. It must be marvelous for you to be sort of in this company, like Jake was saying, to have that sort of around you whenever you tune in, somebody else, another musician or another musician, and that must be. I imagine that's really inspirational, as well as giving you the opportunity to show what you can do.
Oh God, yeah, 100%. I mean, like we said earlier, it's crazy that it's being, people are hearing about it from all these different places, and then all the tons of different musicians that tune in. Yeah, it is really cool. There's always something to check out. You can always share what you have to do, and then loads of other people. It's quite an eclectic range too. You have solo acoustics. You have like jazz. You have a lot of saxophones, and you have a lot of folk as well. So it's a pretty eclectic mix of stuff you can listen to. You just need to. You can go back on all the streams and you can just see the big plethora of artists they've got going. But yeah, it's a really good thing they have going.
From a music student's point of view, really fascinating to broaden your knowledge as well, I would imagine, Jordan.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And sort of be exposed to people like Jake from across the pond.
Oh yeah, it's always really interesting. These live online events, none of us would have expected them to have become such a prevalent thing, but the opportunity it's given people to kind of extend the reach and make more discoveries that we never would have made otherwise.
But because I mean the other thing that links the four of you, I think, is how deeply rooted your love of music is within you, and just how passionate you all are about your own instrument or your own sort of genre of music. And Jake, I mean, you go back. I mean, we have to go back to the age of 3 for your sort of beginnings, as it were.
Yeah, I didn't start playing music until I was 9, but when I was 3, that's really when I consider getting into music. This was 2008, and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers played the Super Bowl halftime show, here, and that's obviously a really big deal everywhere. So my parents let me stay up and watch half the game, thinking maybe I'd get into American football or something like that. But I'm not, I'm not an athletic person. But I did really get into the music, and I just remember being mesmerized by these guys playing on stage, and so that really launched my love of music. And since then, I really can't think of a time that I haven't been really listening to music, and it's been a really driving force in my life ever since. And so when I was 9, I picked up the guitar, and so the first 20 songs or so were all just Tom Petty songs that I'd been listening to, and of course I branched out and started playing a lot of other music, but I kind of break down my start in music into those two events. My first time hearing, music that really resonated with me, which was, at that halftime show in 2008 when I was 3, and then the second time when I was 9 was when I finally started actually playing music. But yeah, it's been a long time now, and I've been grateful for every second of it.
I wonder how that compares with other people's beginnings. Jordan, who was your first musical influence? Are we going to trump Tom Petty?
Oh, musical influence. I think I started off as kind of a rock and blues guy. So for me, it was Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Queen, Pink Floyd, that kind of thing.
And how did you sort of get started? I mean, like Jake said there, his parents were probably hoping he would turn into an American footballer, but he was more interested in the halftime music.
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen the Jack Black film that came out in the early 2000s, School of Rock?
I'm waiting for the others because I haven't.
I haven't.
No,
I have. That was the movie. That was the movie my mother watched the night she went into labor with me, actually. That was that movie.
Well, I saw that film, and that was it. Since then, for Christmas, I was having a guitar. And then ever since, I think it's kind of quite funny that it was that film, I think, that started it all.
Right, okay, and then you took it from there, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about the direction that you've gone in terms of your musical education as well. But what about Hannah?
I'm pretty different from these three, as I just kind of started trying lots of different instruments, and the saxophone was the one that stuck. But a very contrast to these three is it's always been a hobby for me, and I've always just played it for fun, and I've never really envisaged it as a career path, and it's always kind of just been a side to my studies as like a nice break. But yeah, I think recently, I always used to play classical music, but recently I've been really inspired by seeing some of Snake's gigs, and I've started playing the more classics like Baker Street, and I've really got into it recently along those lines.
Well, and who knows where that might lead
Well, yeah,
you.
maybe.
Well, and also when you do go to uni, it's a way of, other than the course that you do, if it's not music, it's a way of making other friends, joining groups,
definitely.
all those sorts of things. Whereas I know you're a music student, so it's music all the way for you. But where did you start?
Well, music's been like kind of a part of me conscious, as far as I can consciously remember me existing. Like I think it was the Arctic Monkeys' first album comes out. I think it was a bit of a gateway to music for a lot of people, similar to my age at the time. But I remember listening to that in the car and just chanting along to every word. I remember my dad showing me them, seeing playing "I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor" on YouTube, and since then I've listened to loads of music. I picked up a guitar when I was 9, and it kind of went on and off until I was about 11 or so, and I started playing guitar, then started singing and writing, and then from there it's just kind of picked up, then playing live, writing, and then started releasing my own songs about 3 or 4 years back, and it's just kind of, it has kind of expanded from there really, and yeah, it's been really good. I can't really imagine, it's got to a point where I can't really imagine anything else being such a big part of my life, other than music in terms of interests. So yeah, it's been a part of me for ages, and then quite a big chunk of my life playing it as well. So I'm just interested to see where everything goes, really.
Well, that's another interesting angle that I would like to explore with you all a little bit more in terms of writing your own material. But I think we ought to hear from, we'll go for you, Nat, first, hear one of your tracks. And this is one that you wrote yourself.
Yeah.
Would you like to introduce it?
Yeah.
Go on. Tell us a little, give us a little, put it in context for us.
What it's about and everything?
Well, yeah, and where it's come, what album it's from, and all that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, well, hi everyone who's listening. Hope you're having a nice tea or whatever. This song was my second single I put out on Spotify, and basically wrote it. I think how old was I when I did it? I was about 16 or 17 when I wrote it, and put it out on Spotify. It's an indie rock track, has a bit of a build up as a bit of a sort of gets a bit heavier at the end, and hope you enjoy it.
Runs high in the corporate family. Ancient traditions fall down the tube in favor of an army of disproved youth. Your teeth go soft when you sink into the business. The pace fills your gums with utopian lies. I don't want to be part of this system anymore. No go, no show, nothing's unforgettable. The industry moves faster than an insect to a light bulb. Culture's being trampled, except where there's wars on. Welcome back to my show, I'm only singing sad songs. Only singing sad songs. I make you feel a foot tall. Make you feel a foot tall. Something to think about. Keep it big. And make us up with a lust in our dreams of what should have been. The seed, the selfish greed. You give back to those who took away from you, like the cause of the earth. No go, no show, nothing's unforgettable. The industry moves faster than an insect to a light bulb. Culture's being trampled, except where there's wars on. Welcome back to my show, I'm only singing sad songs. Only singing sad songs. I make you feel a foot tall. Make you feel a foot tall. Something to think about.
Think on this. Nat Dempsey, as heard, live at the Gather. Wow. We were rocking there.
I just had an acoustic guitar at the time. I didn't have the full band set up at the Gather set life.
But I could still imagine you had them rocking in the aisles.
Yeah.
or on the chat virtually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that was a song that you wrote yourself, and I know that Jordan and Jake, that you both write your own material. I mean, interesting. I suppose Nat and Jordan, you're both music students in terms of being at university studying music. So I mean, how do you kind of almost sort of emerge from that and strike out and write your own? Because I imagine you're so well versed in the technicalities and the structures of music.
I think because I never knew any sort of musical theory or anything like that up until I was about like 16, and that was when I decided I wanted to do music at uni. So I've been writing a bit before that. As you pick more of the sort of studying stuff up throughout uni, you do employ it a lot more into your writing. So it does help a lot, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that, Jordan?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think during my degree I chose to specialise in songwriting and composition, and so I'd deliberately choose modules where we were taught these compositional tools and devices. So it definitely has a big impact having the training and the theory behind it.
Mm. And Jake, how did you start along the songwriting path? From your initial sort of, oh my goodness, ears pricking up at the sound of Tom Petty, how did you then develop the confidence to strike out on your own and put your own tunes out there?
Well, first of all, I love that song that you just played. That was really amazing. But I've been really fortunate to just, kind of listen to music of such fantastic songwriters. And so, being a big Tom Petty fan, a big Bruce Springsteen fan, everything like that. I'm a big John Hyatt fan, and, just all these amazing songwriters that kind of just made me think, well, maybe I should, try that. And so, of course, I'm still working, hard to try to get to, maybe one day, closer to their level, because obviously I'm not. But, I love writing, and I love doing it a lot. And so I'm grateful that I had those people to kind of look up to and decide to do it. So that's kind of how I first started getting into it, was just thinking, well, I guess I could give it a shot, and I've been doing it ever since.
How big a step is it when you go from giving it a shot, maybe in your own bedroom, to either putting it on Spotify or social media or performing it in front of a live audience, when you're suddenly exposing your words, your music to an audience's scrutiny?
Yeah, it's interesting. The way I kind of announced or kind of released these songs over the years has changed. I just put out an album, my first one in December of last year, and that was really my first, I guess, official release. But I'd always been posting my originals and things on Facebook and, Instagram and social media for people to see. And so when I first started, it was always like, I'm not sure how this will go. I don't know. We'll see. You let me know what you think. I don't know, and kind of just basically I was just kind of throwing them out there and seeing if people responded positively, and then if they did, then I'd work on that song further or whatever. So over the years I got a little more confidence in how I did it, and now I'm just saying, well, this is an original. Let me know what you think, and like I said, I have a great time doing it. So that really helped just keep me going and keep me having trying to improve as I kind of evolved my music.
So that drive to become, a better craftsperson, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. It started with me just saying, what, all right, whatever, and I put some lyrics on a page or create a melody, and as I got older, they started to get a little more complex, and like the others, I hadn't had too much music theory. I didn't know how to read music until about last year, and now I am studying a little bit more music theory in school, but before then it was pretty much just those four chords, like a lot of the rock songs are. And I'm still kind of doing that, I suppose. I just kind of know a little bit of the deeper roots to it, I suppose. But yeah, like them, I hadn't had too much, I can't speak for all of them, but of what I've heard, too much music training before recently.
And Jordan, taking that first step for you of revealing your own compositions to the world, how did that? How memorable a moment was that for you, and how big a moment?
Yeah, well, it can definitely be quite a scary thing. I've been writing songs for quite a long time. Releasing a lot of spoken singer, songwriter type music with lyrics and things as well. But now recently coming to uni, and now I've started releasing some more instrumental music. I think for me, it's all been about having a good support network around uni. I've had lots of great teachers at Chester, and obviously with the benefit of being able to study composition, it means I can even submit my music for formal assessment and get detailed feedback to tell me, what I'm doing well, what I'm doing not so well. And obviously I've had a great guitar teacher the whole time, studying for the past few years with them. Amazing, John Wheatcroft, who he's always got loads of time for me to run by things with him and give me his honest opinion. He's been really helpful throughout the whole thing.
And then, of course, there's feedback from the audience, whether that be live or online, as with The Gather. And I know that you went down an absolute storm when you did your Gather gig. Do you think we could maybe listen to one of your tracks now, perhaps? Well, we have one lined up. Would you like to introduce?
Oh, is this a familiar face?
Yes.
Yeah, well, this is Familiar Face. It's the first track from my debut solo guitar album, Stolen Time, was released in August last year. So I hope you like it. This is Familiar Face.
Wow, that's Jordan Hollinreg and Familiar Face. Jake, I'm going to let you pick up on that. I'm speechless.
Yeah, for sure. That was amazing. Thank you for playing a song like that. I'm very excited to now that I'm making a mental note of all these, so I can go back and listen to them later. I'm looking forward to watching. I'm sure there's a live video of that. I think I looked it up while it was playing, and I'm looking forward to watching you play that one because I love watching watching people who know what they're doing it.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, there were so many different. I don't know, to me even, and I'm not a guitarist, so many different influences going on there. I mean, Nat, I know you're a guitarist.
Mm. Well, yeah, it took loads of twists and turns. It was a lovely piece. That
Thank you.
Really good. Loads of different directions. It was all one guitar. Was it just written for all one guitar? Was it?
Yeah, just one guitar.
That's crazy. Yeah. That big lick at the end where it. He's really, honestly, brilliant, proper soothing.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Hannah, were you just lapping it up? Like me? Yeah. You are so lucky to be able to, I suppose every time that you assist with one of these live streams, there'll be a different musical style, a different instrument, different voice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's brilliant, the range we've got, and just being able to watch them all from the side, it's brilliant, yeah. we've had everything from guitarists to saxophones to even some people doing a play with a tuba. So it's been brilliant.
And I mean, brilliant for you as part of your skill set
Yeah,
as well.
it's completely different because I do the sciences at school, so it is just completely different to that.
I really like the idea of a saxophone playing veterinary surgeon.
Yeah, well, hopefully in the future.
Oh, it might come in. Music therapy for animals could be the new thing.
Yeah, I suppose you never know. Snake charming, but with a saxophone.
No, the final sort of thing that I'd like to talk to you all about, I mean, and what strikes me, you're also young, and yet you're also musically, technically proficient, but also so assured in front of an audience. And I mean, where does that come from? I mean, is that just, do you lose yourselves when you're actually playing, or how does that happen when you're the focus of everybody's attention? I don't know who wants to kick off. Nat, do you want to lead on this one?
Yeah, well, it is a really hard one. Like, I don't know, when you do it for a few years, it does kind of become second nature. But that first time playing, I mean, it was a school assembly first time I did it. But I don't know. It's hard to think. I find it hard to cast back and think about what was going on in my head at that time. But it does kind of become kind of second nature after a while. But it is a really hard question to answer, and I get where people are coming from when they ask that. But it is really hard to get to the bottom of. Yeah.
I mean, Jordan, is that part of your? I mean, I'm guessing part of your sort of raison d'être as a musician. It's part of why you are a musician. Is that performing for an audience?
Yeah, also that's the most important part of it, isn't it? That's the end result. That's when you communicate the hard work and the creativity to people.
But that thing of communication, because you're not just communicating a series of notes in a vacuum, because then it would be one-dimensional, and it wouldn't speak to people, it wouldn't move people. There's so much more to it than that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think there's no substitute for experience and just trying to just throw yourself in at the deep end and putting yourself through those initial scary, nerve-wracking experiences, and just slowly kind of fine-tuning and honing your technique and the way you put yourself across to communicate the music that, in the way that you communicate it, so it's received the way that you want it to be and you intended it to be when you composed it in the first place.
Yeah, that's an interesting aspect, Jake, for you, that element of communicating what it is that you want to communicate, and hoping that people will feel something that you would like them to feel. How does that just come? Do you think about that side of things, or is that just something instinctive?
I think it's a connection with the audience, at least in my own experience, is something that's really hard to plan. But I think basically essentially you can really mirror your emotions, and so I have such a fun time playing. Especially live, that I think, at least I try my hardest to make sure that, the people watching are having a really good time too. And I think if they can see you having a good time, I think they'll enjoy themselves even more. And so I think in terms of conveying emotion, it almost, to me, because I like doing it so much, and I'm sure everyone else feels this way too, but it's almost like the audience, on one part, it's almost like you don't even notice they're there because you're so involved in the music, or at least I am. And then on the other sense, you're right there with them, and you can kind of take them on that journey that you're going on as well, that the song takes you on. And so I think, mirroring emotion is really important for that as well. So if I'm really feeling the music, I feel like I can give the audience something more,
And it seems to me like all of you have managed to achieve that, in this virtual way as well, which isn't easy, but certainly listening to the tracks that we've played so far this evening, we're about to play a track from Jake now. they have warmth, and talking to you, of course, as well, just and being part of all of your gigs. I mean, even though they're online, they have that personal something, which I think, I don't know, I mean, Jake, I'm going to let you finish on this, really, that personal element is so important.
Yeah, I think, especially, trying to, online when you're just looking at, a camera or a computer screen or whatever it may be. Personally, I found it difficult, especially in the beginning, to give that, mirror that emotion or whatever it is, just because I can't see the people watching me back. And so I think, eventually in doing the live streams and kind of practicing that and doing the things like the Gather, I found that if I can kind of just, even with the audience element stripped away, if I can just take that energy that I would be giving to the audience and just kind of infuse that back into my playing or the music or the whatever, chord I'm strumming or something like that, I can kind of push the music further and make that the center more so than maybe even the show or the lights or even the overall, feel of the gig, because it's virtual, and so they're not experiencing that exact same thing that I am because we're not in the same room or whatever. So if I can kind of put that in the music, I think that it kind of helps make that connection a little more, even though we're across an ocean or whatever it may be.
Well, I know you're going to do that tomorrow evening, upstairs at the Gather, and this will be one of the tracks that people can hear. Would you like to just quickly introduce it so we have time to play most of it before the news?
Sure. Yeah. This is one of the first songs that I wrote. I wrote this a long time ago, but then when I put an album out called Down the Line in December, and I was looking for songs. I wanted to put some songs that I've already written on it, and so I brought this back. I kind of changed it up and updated it to how I write songs now, and I hope you like it.
This is Hometown.
Driving around my hometown, just wandering the streets all day. Well, it's really bringing me down, 'cause I can't leave, but I can't stay. And I'm aging, just a warm shell remains. Well, the times are changing, but I've stayed the same. No more friends in my hometown. They've all grown and moved away. I don't know why these tears are falling down. I didn't need them much anyway. And I'm aging, just a warm shell remains. The times are changing, but I've stayed the same. My old places have been torn to the ground. So many changes have been made. And everywhere I turn around, there's another memory up in flames.
Mesmerising. That's Jake Thistle and Hometown, and if that has whetted your appetite, you can hear more from Jake on tomorrow night's Upstairs at the Gather gig. My thanks this evening to Jake, also to Jordan Hollinrake, and as well to Hannah Rumney and to Nat Dempsey. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to such talented young people and such passionate young people. Thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.
With the BBC